Hey, Iklok here, co-founder of Limits Break Lifestyle. Welcome and congratulations to signing up to this free 4-part training video series where I'll be sharing with you how to rediscover your passion and your purpose and to find crystal clear clarity on what your life's purpose and higher calling is all about, so that you have the ability to go out there and create what you love. Ready? Excellent. So the first video today, I'll be sharing with you the 5 reasons why you may be lost or stuck in life. And this is a very simple thing that most people don't really understand or they've forgotten. And really, if I was to ask you, let's just give you an analogy. If I was to put you in the middle of a desert, in the middle of nowhere, you will be lost and stuck. You'll be lost, period, right? Now, what would you need to get out of your situation to be to get some more clarity in where is it that you need to do, where you need to go and what you need to do? So what is that thing that you need? What's the 5 things that you need? What are the 5 things that most people don't have when they are lost or stuck? And I'll gladly share with you. As you can see, I've hidden some of these words, obviously. I think my video camera is very good, so you can probably still see the wording cross. So on the video editing, you'll see that I've blurred out a few things. But I'm going to first start by revealing with you the main number 1 reason why people are lost or stuck in life is because they don't have what we call a map. A map. So, this is true for both life, for business, and for everything, even in the physical world. If you was to go explore a new country or a new city, if you was to go traveling, the first thing you need is a map. You need to know what is your territory, what is surrounding your territory, what is your environment, what is around you. You got to be very aware of the entire territory that you are on. So most people don't have a map for their life. This is very important because when I was a lost child, I'm very passionate about this topic because when I was a lost child, this is one of the number 1 reason why I was lost is because I didn't have a sense of my territory. I didn't really know what was around me. I wasn't aware of the choices that I have, if that makes sense. Let me give you another example. So imagine you're driving a car, right? You're driving a car from your work to your home. Or for those of you who don't drive, riding a bike or walking, it doesn't really matter. But as you're traveling from destination A to destination B, from work to home, the only perspective that you have is you as the driver inside the vehicle. So the only thing that you can see is what you can see from the view of your car, right? So the only thing that you'll be noticing and aware of is probably the roads, the signs, the shops, and anything that's along that path going towards work. So you may not be even aware of what's across the other side of the building or what is on the other side of the bridge because you never crossed that bridge. Now, if you was to step outside of the car and you go to a tall, high building and you go into the elevator, into the lift, and you press the button and you take the lift and the elevator all the way up to the top floor, to the very highest part of the building, to the balcony, and you step up and you step to the edge of the building, and what you see is the entire territory. You will see everything else. So here's the thing, by having a map, you have a grand awareness. You have what we call a bird's eye view in your life, in your life territory, to know what is around you and what are your available choices. Because now you're up on this high building, you can now choose to go to the park, or you can choose, oh, you never knew there was a fun fair just around there. Oh, I had no idea there was a ferry. You know, you can go and explore these options. So Perspectives, a higher perspectives gives us more choices in life. But it first starts with being aware, and awareness comes from having a map, a life map. It's very, very important. So in the next video series, in the next episode, I'll be sharing with you what our life map looks like. But for now, I'm just going to illustrate it with that point. Does that make sense? So once you have a map, what is important? What do we need next? Because having a map itself is no good, right? We need to find out, where are we? So the next thing that we need to know is what I call what I call our current reality. And that is our point A. That is where we currently are in life at the moment. We need to know where we are. So when you go to a park, for example, well, in the UK here, if you go to any park, especially if it's like big parks, you will have normally you have a sign by the entrance, and then on the map it will say you are here. So you see the map and you know exactly where you are. So then you know where to go. Does that make sense? So we need to have a sense of current reality. Current reality meaning we have to have a very clear picture of where are we right now, currently in our life, on our journey, where are we? Because the truth is, everyone's is on a different life journey. Well, everyone's on a different life journey, but we're pretty much on the same journey going towards the same destination, which is to create what we love and to create our dreams and our visions. But every single one of us, we're on a different stage of our journey. So if your point A is someone's point C, then where you are is irrelevant to where that person needs to go, because they have to go through the first few stages of their own life's journey before they can reach where you are. And so you need to have a very clear picture and image of where you currently are right now. Whether it be your life, your business, your relationship, everything. You have to have a very clear sense of knowing where you currently are. Which stage of your life journey are you right now? And I'll be sharing with you on the third video about current reality. And I'll go deeper into that. And I'll also share with you that, here's the thing. Most of us have a lot of obstacles. Right? Whether it be fear, inner conflict, inner obstacles, external obstacles, whether it be fear, limiting beliefs, or challenges, it doesn't matter what they are. But here's the thing, at different points of our journey, at different stage of our journey, we have one main limitation that holds us back, one main obstacles, and they are different depending on which current stage of your life's journey you're currently at. Okay, so I'll be sharing that with you on the third video. Now, once we have a point A, what do we need? Most people are still lost in life, even if they have a map and even if they know where they are. Most people are still lost in life. And this is one of the biggest factor. And when I was a lost child, this was the one thing that really held me back. And that was because I had no vision. I had no vision for myself, meaning I had no goals, I had no purpose, I had no idea where I want to be in the next year. I had no idea where I wanted to be in 5 years' time. I had no idea who I wanted to become, where I needed to go, where I want to be in the next 20 years' time of my life. I had no idea. That was me. This was me 7 years ago when I was 27, back in 2011. Even before then, I was completely lost. I spent the first quarter of the century of my life being completely lost because I had no idea what I wanted in life. So on the fourth video, I'll be sharing with you what the difference between a true vision and a negative vision is, and to give you some strategies and tools to help you regain that clarity in what your vision is all about. Now, these are the main three things that most people need to get started out to get a little bit of clarity to what they need to do, right? So most people do goal settings here on the vision, and most people they're very, very present in their very present moments. So they have a great sense of current reality, and most people have a really good strategy and a life map. So having just these 3 things will really get you going. But having these 3 things may not be enough, because most people will still be lost. And here's the reason why. And that is because some people are very strong. They have a very strong sense of their current reality. And these are the type of people who are always thinking about the now, about the short term. You know, they're very good at planning short terms. They think about what to, these are the people that think about what should I eat tonight, what should I do tomorrow, what should I wear tomorrow. It's always very short term. It's always pretty much in the now, and they're not very good at visualizing a couple of days ahead. They're not very good at visualizing what's up ahead or plan for the future. They plan for the short term, like at max probably the week ahead, but they don't really plan for the future ahead because they don't really know, they don't see it. So they have a very strong sense of current reality. And most of these people are usually, if this is you by the way, you're probably risk adverse. So you probably have a strong sense of, you need a strong sense of security, because it's all about now. How can I be safe now? How can I be secure right now? And this is a lot of people's problem. And because they're so strong, they have such a strong sense of current reality, they haven't worked on their vision. They can't see their vision. So they will lack one or the other. On the other hand, we have spiritual people who are very good visionaries. They see a lot, they see far ahead. So these are what we call visionaries, right? People who see far ahead, they can plan far ahead. They daydream all the time. We call them daydreamers, right? Great leaders usually are visionary because they plan 20 years ahead, or they have a vision that's for 20 years down the line where they're going to make something happen. But here's the problem. Most visionary they fall into the trap of becoming daydreamers because all they think about is the future. And they don't have a sense of current reality. They have a very strong sense of vision. They can see so far ahead and they can plan so far ahead, but they don't know what they're going to do tomorrow. They have no plan or strategy whatsoever to get them from the first 2 steps. So they can see on steps 50 what they're going to do, but they don't have a clear idea what step 1 is about. Right? So we have these 2 polar extreme. So on one hand, you have people who are very strong sense in the now, in the current reality. And on the other hand, we have people who are visionary and they have a strong sense of the future, but they don't have a clue how to get started. That's their problem. They don't have a clue on how to get started. So they know their point B, they don't really have a clear picture of where the point A is. So you need all 3. You need to have a map, you need to have a strong sense of your current reality, and acknowledging where you are right now, and you also need to have a strong vision, knowing very clearly where you want to be, what you want in life, what you are here to achieve. Does that make sense so far? So before I share with you the last two reasons why people are lost and stuck, I'd like to share a little bit about my story, if I may, just so that you get to know me a little bit, right? So before that, I'd like to take you on a journey back with me 28 years ago when I remember my very first childhood memory, and that's when I was 4. How do I know? Because I remember very clearly my very first childhood memory was I was sitting down on my bed and I was looking into my mirror and I was like saying to myself, yes, it's my birthday today. I'm a big boy. I'm 4 years old now, right? I'm not sure how many of you remember your very first 4-year-old, 3-year-old's birthday. And how many of you remember your childhood memory? I'm just curious. How many of you? Right? If you do, just raise your hand. Just say, yay! That's me. So that was my very first childhood memory. Now that's irrelevant, by the way. That's irrelevant. That's not important. What is important is what I'm about to share with you. I remember very clearly what my second childhood memory was all about. And I was still 4, obviously, I was still 4 years old. And I remember on one particular day, I was playing in the living room with my toys, watching cartoons, minding my own business like a normal child, like any normal child would. And I heard a lot of loud noises, right? I heard arguments. I heard my mum's raising her voice. I heard my dad raising his voice. And so as a child, naively, innocently, I just ran up thinking, just exploring what's going on. And to my shock and horror, the first thing I saw was my dad holding up a chair, ready to smack my mum on the head. And they were arguing about something. And I remember very clearly seeing my grandmother there, my uncles and my aunties, all of the other elders were surrounding them. And they were talking amongst themselves, shouting at one another. And there's a funny side to the story. I remember very clearly my mum holding a pair of socks, green socks, by the way. That's why I still remember them. They're green, and she was just waving them at Dad. I guess that was her defense weapon. Okay, but as a kid, I had no idea what was going on, and it was only after I grew up I realized that my parents have my parents have almost gone through divorce twice. And my parents obviously fell out of love. But what they were arguing about that day was what triggered it. And that was my mum wanted to take on a new faith called Christianity. And my dad is an atheist. He doesn't believe in anything. And he's really, really against religion. And he's totally against my mum taking on this new faith. And the reason being is because he really believes that, religious people are just sheep. They don't think for themselves and they're not real. So my dad has a very strong sense of current reality. He's not a visionary. But my dad said one thing to my mum: I don't care and I don't mind if you're going to be a Christian or whatsoever, but there's a condition. I do not want you to get my kids involved. He was talking about me and my little sister. My mum agreed. But as most mums do, she sneaked me into church. She would secretly, while my dad's not at home, she would tell me Bible stories. She would have a big picture version of the Bible, the story where Jesus was telling parables, and it's just storybook. And she would tell me stories of Christianity, stories from the Bible. And as a kid, because you love your mum, like any good boy does, right? I was a very good boy, by the way. I'm a mummy's boy. And you just go along with it. You don't know anything. I didn't know anything, so I went along with it. And I said, and I just basically became a Christian. I grew up with a Christianity background. And I remember very clearly that when I was about 14, 15, my dad found out. I remember my dad slapping me across the face and said how disappointed he was at me. And so during that phase of my life, I really lost a sense of identity because I was questioning everything. I was questioning the world. I was questioning my life. I was questioning my belief. I was questioning my mum. And I was also questioning my dad. I mean, is my mum correct? Is my mum right, or is my dad right? And as a kid, growing up, you can sense that I was a very intuitive child, and I could sense that there was no love between my mum and dad. My dad only stayed for the family because he's a man of commitment, and so I really, really love him and respect him for that because he stayed for us. But he never knew how to show love. He never knew how to show love to my mum, and he never knew how to show love to us. And so I grew up not having a role model. I really wish to this day that my dad was the role model for me, but I know he never will be, he never is, he never will be, unfortunately. I still love him. But during that phase of my life, I was really, really lost. I just didn't know what I wanted to do. And as years goes by, 5 years down the line, now I'm 21. I was studying mechanical engineering as a degree. It got to the point, it got so bad that I picked it. I picked mechanical engineering because it was, I had no idea what I wanted to do. I thought, well, I got the grades for it. Sounds like I could do it. Let's just do that. Boy, what did I hated it. I couldn't take it anymore because I just knew deep down I hated it. It wasn't even about, oh, just do it for the sake of, at one point of my life, I thought about just doing it for the sake of doing it, like most Chinese kids would do. Most Chinese students would just complete their degrees for their parents' sake, and so did I. But after a year, I just thought, you know what, this is just not me. If I carry on doing this, I'm not going to use the degree, I'm wasting my time. Why don't I find something else that I could do? And so I remember very clearly, one night I sat down while we were eating dinner with my entire family. Now my little brother was born already. He was about 9 years old. And while everyone was just talking, and then suddenly there was an opportunity for me to speak, and because there was a silence. And I just said, I spoke up, I brought up the courage to show. You will relate to me if you're Chinese or if you're Asian, you will know what I'm trying to say, right? You can relate to me. There's a huge amount of tension and fear when you want to tell your dad, I want to quit, right? So there's a huge tension for me. So I brought up the courage to tell my dad that, Dad, I want to tell you something. The moment I said that, you can hear a pin drop. My mom, my sister, my brother, they just stayed silent, and my dad was listening. My dad didn't look at me. He was busy eating his own. He was eating his rice, right? He didn't look at me. And I said, Dad, I can't do this anymore. I'm going to quit. I'm going to quit uni. Silent. Not a single word. Not a single word from my dad, not a single word from my mum. And we carried on eating that family dinner in silence. My dad, I remember very clearly, my dad didn't even look at me. And it was at that point that I realized he's given up on me. He had lost all faith in his son. Ever since he found out that I followed my mom's footsteps to become a Christian, ever since then, my relationship with my father had just gone downhill. He was disappointed once. He was disappointed again when I didn't get my GCSE to the standard that he wanted to. He's now disappointed the fact that I'm going to quit. And I realized that at that moment, although I had a dad, I did not have a father. And that night really, really hurt me, because it was at that moment I felt that I was all alone. Even though I had physical parents physically being there for me, it felt like I was all alone. It felt like I was abandoned. And so I left my uni, I left the degree, I became a dropped out university student. And then I found myself a job, and I just kind of like, what's that word? Floated around like a log wherever the river carried me, which most people do nowadays. Most people, maybe you who's watching this right now, maybe you are just getting on with your life without any sense of purpose, just drifting like a leaf wherever the wind takes you, without any will of your own. That was me. That was me more than 7 years ago. And I had completely given up on life back then when I was 21. I tried to seek an opportunity to kill myself. Now, that's not to say that I was one of those emo trying to slit my wrist. No, that was not me. I was too much of a coward to do that. Instead, I would sign up to things like bungee jumping, skydiving, fast car driving, anything that will put my life in a life-threatening situation, so that hopefully one day God will just take my life away by accident. That's how I wanted to kill myself. I wanted to kill myself while I'm having fun, or just doing silly things. That was me. And so what I realized was, I was a lost child. I had no idea what I wanted to do. I'm completely lost. And my life turned around on one December night while I was driving really, really fast on the highway, on the motorway, going at around 60 miles an hour in my car. And back in them days, I had a really flashy yellow sports car, like Bumblebee from the Transformers, right? And I was going really, really fast, and it was on a winter night. And it had just been raining, and because it was so cold, the road were all frosted up. It was icy. I was going so fast. I was paying no attention to my environment. I was in my head for a minute, thinking about life, pondering about life. And then I didn't see that I needed to turn right, so I took a sharp turn really, really quickly. And as I turned, my car skid. I lost control. My car started to spin around very, very rapidly on the motorway, on the highway, going 60 miles an hour. And it was at that moment that I had a near life and death experience. For those of you who've ever had a life and death experience or near close to dying, you could probably relate to me. And for those of you who don't, who've never had that experience before, touch wood, if there's any wood, touch wood, you won't have to face this experience. But allow me to illustrate what happened. As my car was spinning and losing control, I thought I was going to die. It was like, at that moment, it's like, there you go, Ick, your prayers is answered. Now God is going to take your life away. That's what you wanted all your life. But it was at that moment that I had a really interesting experience. I had a flashback. My mind took me back to all the way to my childhood when I was a kid, and it replayed my entire life right in front of me. And what was just a 5-second spin, it felt like 20 minutes for me. And throughout that 5 seconds, that 20 minutes in my mind, it was 20 minutes for me. It felt like it felt like I was going like slow motion. You see those in those films, right? Like everything's like Matrix, slow motion. That's exactly what happened in my own internal world. I felt like I was going slow motion, and straight away, my entire life was like playing a slideshow, going. It was just flashing back all of my life experience and my life's journey. This is where it was interesting though. I saw the people that I love. I saw the people that cared for me. I saw everything that happened in the past. But what was fascinating was that I also saw my future. I saw glimpses, visions of who I was going to become. I still remember standing on stage. I don't know why, standing on stage in front of an audience. And I remember seeing a very vague image of the woman who I was going to love. I also saw very vague images of my children's face. 2 to be exact, 1 boy, 1 girl. Right? And I just thought, whoa, what the hell? And I saw that my life could get better. But it wouldn't get better if I was to die today. And it was at that moment, that I told myself, I prayed really subconsciously in my mind, really fast, like, God, whether you're real or not, if you love me, if you're there, give me another chance. I prayed. I said, give me another chance. I will no longer waste my life away. I will no longer waste my time and my energy doing silly things, wasting it away. I don't know what I want to do, but I will figure this out. I will figure out what is it that I'm here to do. Give me one more chance. And I remember after saying that, after really quick, so it was, remember, bear in mind, it was just 5 seconds, but to me it felt like 20 minutes. And then after the end of the 5 seconds, what happened was my car smashed right into a lamppost, and even it even broke the lamppost. The lamppost fell down, and because the impact was so strong, the bumper of my car flew off. And thankfully, it didn't really hit or injure anyone, but my friend was driving right behind me, quite a long distance away, but if the bumper flew off and it smashed right onto my friend's one of the headlights. I felt so bad. But that didn't stop my car from spinning. It kind of reduced the speed a little, but my car kept spinning and spinning, and I was now sliding off towards the grass and towards the away from the road, but towards the grass, and I was heading straight for a tree. And then my car smashed right into the tree. Now this time I had no bumper to protect me. So what happened was my car sliced right into the tree. So the tree was like a knife, like imagine a sandwich going right? And the tree, I even broke the tree. The tree even fell down. I'm going to show you a picture of what my car looks like after the crash, right? You can see it right in front of you. That's my car. That's the bumblebee. That's my proud little bumblebee that I no longer have, right? That is exactly what happened. And thankfully that the tree was smashed into the passenger side, so I was unharmed. Now obviously I had airbags, so thankfully for that as well, and I had my seatbelts on. But for a very brief moment I lost consciousness after the impact, and I don't remember clearly how long I was unconscious for, but I just remember waking up like I'm not sure if you've ever had this experience when you're drunk, right? Who's been drunk before, right? It felt like I was drunk. You know when sometimes you're drunk, you're conscious but you're unconscious at the same time. It's like you know what you're doing, but then you don't remember what you did. That's exactly my experience. I woke up and I felt like I was in a drunk state. So, but the only thing I remembered was I still remember that I need to take my seatbelt off, and I remember the car was locked as well, and I remembered how to unlock the car, and I opened the car, and straight away I fell right down onto the ground, gasping for air. Because I got wounded so hard that I couldn't breathe. That's why I was unconscious, because the oxygen got wiped out of my system, so I fell unconscious. And I just remembered on the ground, and again, I still remember myself putting myself in the, what do you call it, the first aid position. you know when you put your arm like this and then you cross your leg and you put your body to a side. I still remember to do that. I don't know why, but that's the subconsciousness. And I was just gasping for it. I was just breathing very, very heavily. And after a minute or two, my friend Drew, I think it was less than a minute or so, my friend parked by, and he came rushing to me, and there was two of them, and he was like, Ik, are you okay? Are you okay? Answer me. And I was just like, yeah, I can hear you. And at that moment, everything was fine. They knew I was safe. We called 999. In the UK, by the way, it's 999, not 911. We called the ambulance, and I was taken to the hospital to do a checkup. Miraculously, no bone fractures, no injury, nothing. I had a very strong bruise, like I had a bruise, whiplash, and my ribs was hurting internally, but there weren't really any major injuries. And even to this day, my friends, even myself, we're still baffled. It's like, how the hell did I survive that? Is it a miracle? Is there some unknown forces to protect me? Or was it just luck? I don't know. But it doesn't matter. What matters was on that day, I realized what's important. I realized how important my life was. And I realized that if I continue the way I am, if I continue living my life the way I did, I will one day either kill myself for real, or I will be really, really unhappy and I'll die a miserable person. And that's not what I wanted. I saw my vision very clearly of who I could potentially become and what I could be and where I could be. I made a conscious choice, a decision that day that changed my life forever. I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I told myself, no matter what, I am going to find out. I am going to find out what I am here for. What am I good at? What am I here to do? What am I passionate about? What is my higher calling? Why did God give me a second chance? What am I here to do to make a difference? And so what happened was I went on a self-discovery journey. And I discovered personal development. I discovered entrepreneurship. That's right, believe me or not. I had no idea, I was so ignorant. I had no idea what the word entrepreneur was, what it meant. And that's when I found out that, my God, I'm actually an entrepreneur. No wonder why I felt like I'm doing the wrong things all my life. Getting a job, building someone else's business, that's not me. I'm an entrepreneur. And I discovered what leadership was. And I realized that one of my passion is about leadership, is about being the best version of myself. That's what I've always been passionate about, is learning, growing, being better. And so I found all of these clues through my journey. And it took me about 5 years to really figure out what am I here to do. And it took me 5 years to get really crystal clear clarity. And even to this day, my vision is still evolving. It's kind of like sharpening that knife, you know, my clarity just get clearer and clearer and clearer. It's kind of, the analogy I like to use is like, back in them days you have probably like, you know, you have the 240p, you know, when you watch any video on YouTube, you have the low quality, the 144p, 240p, 360p, 480p, and the 760p, and then you have 1080p, right? Those are the quality. And then now what do we have? We have 4K. We have 4K resolution. And that's how I like to see clarity. Here's the thing, your vision will always get clearer and clearer as you go on and embark on your journey, and as you go and achieve them. Then when you step foot outside outside the door, and you actually go and achieve something, and you go for your dreams, what tends to happen is this gets clearer and clearer and clearer. And it just keeps evolving. And so even nowadays, I'm still working on my vision, because it just gets clearer every day. What I used to do yesterday, I no longer do today. So it's very important to really figure out what is it you are here to do. And don't worry if you haven't figured out yet right now, because like I said, it will just get clearer and clearer as you continue on your journey. So, and I've discovered there are 5 reasons why I was personally lost in life. And that was because I didn't have a map. I didn't have a life map. I didn't have a sense of my current reality. What am I going to do now? What am I going to do tomorrow? And I didn't have any clue what my vision was, what I wanted to create in life. But more importantly, I found 2 more reasons, 2 more things that I did not have in my life. And that is my values, my personal values. And this, my friend, is your compass in life. This is our compass. Because once we have a map, once we have our point A, and once we have our point B, our destination, where we want to go, where we are and where we want to go, we need to know what direction, where to head towards. And that, my friend, is our values. Our values are there to guide us. Our values, if you don't have a sense of, if you don't know what your values are, you will not know how to get to where you need to go. You will try new things. You will try this, you will try that. You become one of these people who have so many ideas, doing so many things. This could be you, right? You might be one of those, I have all these ideas, I got this, I could do this, I could do that. And then you don't do any of them, or you get started on on every single one of them, but you don't finish it, you don't complete it. Why? And you feel overwhelmed. It's because you don't really have a clue what your values are. You don't have a clue of what your personal values are. And what I mean is, you don't know what you stand for really. And your values would then help you grow your brand, your personal brand and your business brand. You need to know what you stand for in life. You need to know what is that most important thing in your life. And when I say personal values, I mean the things that are very important to you. What is important to you? And I mean values. So values could be things like family, integrity, honesty, confidentiality, community, love, connection. These are all values, right? And we all have a set of different priorities of our values. We all have a different set of values that we prioritize. I used to think, most typical Asian people think, that the most important thing in life is our family. And I used to really strongly believe that. And it was not until I discovered that actually my values, my real personal values, my family don't even come at the top. I've been lying to myself all this time, telling myself that family is the most important thing for me. It wasn't. My family is actually the fourth most important thing for me. It's like compared to my mental, compared to learning, compared to leadership and socializing with other people, compared to conscious awareness, spirituality. My family comes fourth. My family is neither important nor unimportant, right? They're important, but they're not my priority. Does that make sense? They are important. I'm not to say that none of the values are not important. I'm not to say that your family is not important to you. I am saying there are things in your life that are important to you that are not a priority compared to what's really important to you. And so I found out that one of the most important things was freedom, personal freedom. For me, when I realized that I don't care about my family. If I had to sacrifice my freedom for my family, I wouldn't do it, right? And that's the light bulb moment for me. I was like, wow, well, freedom's that important for me. You know what? And here's how you know here's a bit of clue on how you know what's important to you. You kind of instinctively and intuitively know what's important to you and what your personal values are. But it takes your every action and your behavior. So, for example, if everything you did in your life, every day you think about your family all the time and you do things for them, then yes, probably family is one of the most important things for you. And most of the time you're inspired to do so, not because you feel like you have to, but because you're inspired. You're inspired because it's what you love, right? You love you might have a value on connection. Love and connection. So you're a people person and you just love talking to people. You just love connecting with other people. And so you don't have to motivate yourself to connect with other people. You just do it naturally because you're inspired. You just love talking to people. So it's normally your values and your vision are very, very, they come hand in hand because your values is what you love and your vision is what you love to create. Does that make sense? All right. And so from here, I'd like to share with you a little bit about, I have I'm looking to do a power course, a clarity course, right? A personal clarity breakthrough course for you, my friends. So where I'll be going deeper and deeper in helping you in how to discover what your personal values are if you have not figured that out yet. Would that be cool? Right? So moving on. So what's that last thing? What is that very, very last and final thing that we are missing in life? What's that last reason why we may still be lost or stuck? And that is clarity. And by that I mean a lack of clarity. A lack of clarity. Is that resolution analogy I use, right? So you might have a very clear picture of your map. You might know very clearly where you are, and you know where you want to go, and you have a compass, you have your direction, you know what your values are, but it's not specific enough. It's not clear. It's like knowing that you live in London. You have a map of the UK. You live in London and you want to go to Birmingham. You want to go up to Birmingham and you have the sat nav to get you there. But where in London are you? Where in Birmingham do you actually want to go? Where specifically are you going to park your car in Birmingham? You see what I'm saying? Specificity, specificity. I can never say that word. Specific, being specific, specificity is the key to clarity. Specificity is the key to clarity. If you are not specific enough, you will never really know what you need to do. So one of the most important things is getting clarity. This is one of the things I really help my clients with and entrepreneurs, is to get really clear on what is their mission. No, seriously, what are you here to do? What is your passion and purpose? I mean, okay, great. Because here's the thing, right? A lot of clients come to me and say, Ik, I want to help people. Great. But we have two problems. Just by saying that, we already have two problems. You know what they are? Problem number one, the word help. In what ways do you want to help? And the second problem is people. Who? What type of people do you want to help? Because just by saying, I want to help people is not enough. It's too broad, it's too vague. You've got to be very clear and specific. Who do you want to help and in what ways are you going to help? Because if you just say, I want to help people, I can tell you now, I need a toilet that needs cleaning. I don't want to do it myself. I don't really like to do it, but you could help me out here. I'm a person, right? And by helping me clean a toilet, you're helping me out. But I can probably guess that that's not something that you want to be doing. So in actual fact, you don't want to help people. That's not what you want to do. No. You don't want to help people. You want to serve. Because there's a difference between helping and between helping and serving. Helping, most people, when they say they want to help people, is because they just want to help themselves. They feel like they want to do something for other people because that's what they want for themselves. You see where I'm coming from? But serving is different. Service is what leadership is about. Leadership is all about service. Service is when you serve people, it really is serve. It really is service. Meaning you're not doing it because you want something back. You're not doing it because you want someone to help you back in that same way. You're doing it out of love. You're doing it because it's like, I use the analogy of you're not helping people when you pour a cup of when you make a cup of tea or coffee for your friends and family. You're not helping them, but you are serving them. You may not drink that cup of coffee or tea yourself, but you would make it for them. You will put heart and soul into making it for them. Why would you go that extra mile to do that for them? It's because you love them. It's because you're providing a service. So there's a difference between wanting to help people and wanting to serve your tribe. Who are your tribes? Who are these people you want to help? Who is that person that needs your help the most? And in what ways will you do that? That is very important. So if you're one of those that always say, I want to help people, I challenge you to go deeper. I challenge you to go deeper and find out who do you want to help and in what ways will you help. And the ways that you should help really should be something you're inspired to do, you're passionate about, and you're good at doing it, right? This is the same for business. Most entrepreneurs come to me saying they have this idea, this business idea, but then when we get down to it, they discovered after a session with me, they discovered, actually, I don't want to do this anymore. These are not the type of people I want to serve, and that's not what I want to do. So we scrap that and we create a complete new business idea altogether. And that's what I love doing with entrepreneurs, is to create brand new ideas that really, really resonate with you. So if this is something you'd like to talk about, feel free to contact me. But so that is the last thing that I really want to share with you, is the power of clarity. Tony Robbins says it best. Clarity is power. When you have clarity in the entire life map or business map, and if you have clarity of your sense of current reality, if you have clarity of where you want to be on your vision, if you have clarity very clearly what your personal top 5 personal values are, you will no longer be lost or stuck. There's just no way. There is just no way. I found my life purpose and I found my passion and I was driven. I found inspiration once again. I ignited that spark and fire within me. The moment I've got clarity, the moment I found clarity in my life, that's when the fire started burning, baby. I was like, wow, the fire's running. Let's add some more coal in. That's what I was doing. I was just taking action. But it's hard for you to take action when you are not clear, when you have too many ideas, when you don't know where specifically, who, what do you want to do, what ways are you going to help, who are you going to help, where do you want to be, and how. It's very important that the how is the strategy part, by the way. But strategy, you won't see me talk about strategy today because strategy is just 20%. The rest is actually 80% mechanics. 80% psychology, and 80%, and most of it is clarity stuff. You gotta find clarity in your life. And so, I hope I've convinced you to find clarity and how important clarity is. And this is the end of the first training video. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you're inspired to really dig down on getting clarity in your life. And so don't worry, I will hold your hand. We've got 3 more training videos to come. So in the next video, I'm going to share with you current reality. The next video, I'm going to share with you what your life map looks like. Now, everyone has a different life map, but what I've come to discover is that every single one of us, we have a pretty much same structure of a life map. You know, they say never reinvent the wheel. So your wheel might look different to my wheel, but it's a wheel, right? Without a doubt, it's a wheel. So I will be sharing with you what your life map looks like. And then I'll be going through with you, sharing with you what it takes to start moving along each stage of your life's journey. So I'll see you in the next video. Hope you enjoy this. Live life with no limits. Stay strong, stay focused, and stay shining brightly. This is Iklok signing out now, and I'll see you in the next video.